Margaret Kuhlman of Soul Astrology. Although this new moon is in Libra, you'll see just below the line into Virgo, there is Mercury and Venus. And Mercury is the way we think. Mercury and Venus are both trining Pluto, so there's an intensity involved in these thoughts. I'm afraid I've been getting into the endeavour to get things right and not miss anything, to organise the material and pay attention to all the details. But I'm reminded that Venus is about our values. And do I really value the details to the degree I've been giving them space? More than that, I value meaning. And when it comes to Venus, more than anything, I value the love that there is between people. The love that one can feel within oneself in order to feel the love going out and coming in. Unless we stand in love within ourselves, we don't feel it in either direction. We may think we're loving outwards, but there will be some expectation or requirement or desire or neediness. Not just need, but neediness. Possessiveness in our approach to people. And whether they love us or not, we are unable to feel loved. It is always so important to stand in the loving place within oneself. And this month is so much about love and relationship. Venus rules Libra. There she is with Mercury, involving our thoughts, opposing Neptune, which may confuse things somewhat. And as Mars is squaring Neptune for most of the month, this energy of communication, because Mars is in Gemini, is likely to be full of misunderstandings, super sensitive at the solar plexus, and yet coming to the wrong conclusions. With the confusion already there, it promises to be an interesting month for communication. Beautifully, these three signs are all mutable. They're all able to shift and change the energies within them. So we are being advised by this arrangement to keep an open mind, never think you've got the whole truth, listen to what everybody says, but don't write anything in stone. Our expression is liable to be strong, too many words. But whatever it was that was happening last month, when Mars first went into Gemini, which I spoke about then, this month is about actually coming to ground with it, in the sense of seeing what actually happened, recognizing where we did make mistakes. So all this communication, although confusing, is about rectifying the mistakes where possible. Libra is about diplomacy and mediation. It's opposite to Jupiter here, Jupiter being in Aries. So the dilemma that Libra often finds itself in, holding two opposing points of view in the two hands, will be about how to be true to oneself and yet still respectful of others. How to claim what one needs oneself, one's own space or whatever, while still allowing others to have theirs. The full moon is interesting in that Venus has reached the Sun in the middle of Libra. The moon has reached Chiron. The opposition there is still about how much for me and how much for everyone else. But we have Saturn, who's been combining with Mars, bringing the Aquarian wisdom with it, hopefully, as our reconciling point. So there is the potential holding back of the energy, respectful not only of others, but actually of oneself. The key word for me in that is self-respect. When we truly respect ourselves as whole beings, with talents and problems, abilities and failings, you might say, when we respect all that, we naturally respect others. Without self-respect, what we feel for others is tinged with a fear of how they may respond, an expectation of not being respected. So the moon in Aries with Chiron looks like a healing of that inner space, where we retreat from the outside to a degree. After all, Libra is an air sign, which allows space to consider, and we pay attention not only to the self-respect, but the gentle love that comes as a result from the heart. Respect the heart, and the love flows naturally. Because Mercury has spent quite a lot of this time retrograde, although it is going direct on the 9th of October with the full moon, it's still trining Pluto and opposing Neptune. I've given the dates precisely in the letter that I write, so I won't go over them exhaustively. But just to say that whatever problems were happening last month, this retrograding Mercury is giving us plenty of time, plenty of conscious thought about what may or may not have gone wrong, about why inside ourselves, how we made the mistakes, where we perhaps misunderstood. And this full moon, in a way, puts the stamp on our acceptance of the changes that we ourselves need to make to allow there to be that love between us. The square which has been continuing between Saturn and Uranus has been approaching again as close as it's going to be. It doesn't get to the exact square this time. It's giving us a nudge about what's supposed to be happening there. It gets closer and closer during the second half of the month. It's not until the 25th of October, actually at the next new moon, that Saturn goes direct and moves away from the square. So we are possibly going to be feeling a tightening of the net, as it were. It feels to me as if the Saturn and Uranus is that kind of pressure. It not so much pressing in, but pulling out, because Uranus is asking us to let go of the way things have been. And Saturn is the holding together of the way things have been. But the square relationship that Saturn is moving into once more, Saturn, the wisdom of Aquarius here, is willing us to let go. As though circumstances, rules, laws, things that are happening that we can't avoid, are getting tighter and tighter somehow, holding the status quo together until there is the break, and we do let go of the past with much relief. It may not be a sudden letting go. It'll take a while for Saturn to speed up after it changes direction. But I suspect next month we'll have a different story to tell from this one. So while we are focused on relationships, let's get this inner attitudinal shift underway, respecting the self, feeling the heart expand, giving love no matter what. Because who is right? Who knows really where we're going? But in our hearts, we are hoping and planning for more loving outcomes. We put ourselves in the way of more loving outcomes by being loving, a loving being. Do not shrink from inner work. Trawl through the deep lake of your hurts. Listen to the voices of your inner suffering and love them all. What are they saying? How do they feel? They have done no wrong. They have tried with all the understanding of that time, not as much as you have now. They all deserve to live, or they would not have been born, those within and those out in the world. Let being itself be your heart's home, pure, clear, fresh each moment, full of joy and love for everyone.